The never-ending struggle between good and evil is fought on many battlefields and takes many forms. Victory hinges on adaptability. Technological superiority is key, yes, but nothing is more important than the element of surprise. And that goes for designing and marketing a toy line as well. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of M.A.S.K. We have previously covered elements of the history of M.A.S.K. in an outdated format called 10 Things You Need to Know. While it allowed us to present a brief overview of M.A.S.K. in general, it also skipped a lot of basic stuff. We're revisiting it here to fill out the details and paint a more comprehensive picture of a line that, with any luck, is on its way back. Someday. M.A.S.K. is an action figure and vehicle toy line produced by Kenner, supported by an animated series, comic books, and lots of other licensed merchandise. It follows the adventures of the mobile Armored Strike Kommand and their battle against Venom, the vicious evil network of Mayhem. Look, I don't know a lot about branding per se, but I gotta give it to both of these squads for just leaning into and embracing what they are, not settling for anything less than clear, explicit descriptions of the services they offer in easy-to-remember acronyms. Both teams are fully stocked with cutting-edge technology, allowing their vehicles to shift shapes, unlocking additional functionality. A motorcycle becomes a helicopter, a Jeep becomes a boat, a car becomes a car with the doors open and enough thrust to make it fly in the face of every known law of physics. The masks the show is named after are the helmets worn by each member of both M.A.S.K. and Venom. None of the characters have cool code names like Maverick or Iceman.
That's right. Ice Man. I am dangerous.
Rather, they are called by their regular names, and their helmets have code word-activated powers. Miles Mayhem, the leader of Venom, wears a Viper with the power of acid squirting and poison blasting. Matt Trakker, the leader of M.A.S.K, utilizes Spectrum, a mask with the power of plot contrivance. Flight, energy creation, energy absorption, energy redirection. Wrote yourself into a corner, deadline approaching, missed your payment date, Spectrum will save the day. M.A.S.K hit the shelves for the first time in 1985, the biggest year in American pop culture ever. You needed to put out a strong original product if you were going to survive. It was a very crowded market that put heavy demands on a 10-year-old kid's time and their parents' wallets. At theaters, Back to the Future, Goonies, Rocky IV, Breakfast Club, Reanimator. On television, Thundercats, Robotech, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Growing Pains, MacGyver. Nintendo hit the US, The Hole in the Ozone Layer, New Coke, Calvin and Hobbes, Blockbuster is born, Hypodermics on the Shore, Rock and Roller Cola Wars, and the toy shelves were stocked with Star Wars, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man stuff. From 1985 to 1988, Kenner released 4 full waves of vehicles, action figures, small accessory sets, and 1 giant playset. The transforming vehicles were the focus of the line. That's why the figures are so tiny. Boulder Hill was big as it was and would have been huge if it was a 3 3/4 inch line or larger. For the first 2 years of that toy line, it was supported by a 75-episode animated series produced by DIC Entertainment, which itself was supported by one of the most valuable assets a cartoon could possibly have: music by Haim Saban and Shuki Levy. Saban and Levy produced music for tons of 80s and 90s shows. Theme songs that don't stop a-rockin': Masters of the Universe, Inspector Gadget, Ulysses 31, Pole Position, RoboCop, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, The Real Ghostbusters, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and lots of others. Season 1 premiered September of 1985 and ran for 65 of those 75 episodes, telling 86% of the core story, building the world of M.A.S.K, but more importantly, establishing the play structure. There's a lot of back and forth between M.A.S.K and Venom in those first 65 episodes, a lot of thwarted plans, new vehicles, new masks, new characters cycled in and out. A whole lot of lasers, missiles, and money spent developing new technologies to surprise each other with more lasers and missiles. And then, for the second season, the last 10 episodes, they cut the nonsense and just started racing each other. But the story was told from several angles. The cartoons were just one part of the effort to build the mythology. See, in the beginning, there was no M.A.S.K and Venom, just one single operation dedicated to building a better, safer world through science. Miles Mayhem and the Trakker brothers, Matt and Andy, developed both the vehicle transformation and powered helmet technologies. Acting anonymously as secret protectors of the world wasn't enough for Miles. He stole half the goods, torched the facility, and left Andy Trakker for dead, who then actually died. That part of the origin of M.A.S.K and Venom was told through one of the 3 mini-comics that were included with the toys early in the line. DC Comics also began publishing M.A.S.K in December of 1985 with a 4-issue limited series that ran through March of 1986. That was followed by a 9-issue regular series in 1987. There were some international releases in the UK by Grand Dreams, including hardcover annuals. Did that sound natural? Start over. There were some international releases in the UK by Grand Dreams, including hardcover annuals. Fleetway, another UK publisher, released an entire M.A.S.K magazine that ran 80 issues. It existed as its own continuity outside everything else that was being published in the United States. While they weren't the most popular games of their time, while some people might be finding out about them right now, there was a selection of computer games released in 1987 and 1988 by the British publisher Gremlin Graphics. M.A.S.K, M.A.S.K 2, and M.A.S.K 3 Venom Strikes Back varied to the degree in which they utilized the license for visuals or storytelling purposes, technology-limited gameplay to mostly scrolling shooters and simple puzzle solving. That said, for the most part, the games got good reviews from people who owned the appropriate platforms: Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC. I don't know what any of those are. Can you hack the mainframe with them?
M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Get ready for an attack on Boulder Hill! Prepare for battle. This is no innocent petrol station. Activate freeze ray! No one stops the evil jackhammer from finishing his mission. Oh yeah? Boom! I'll sneak in another way. Got me! Surrender, prisoner!
Boulder Hill, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
And see the M.A.S.K comic at your newsagent now.
More than half of M.A.S.K the animated series was released on a series of VHS tapes by Kideo Video. On top of that, 4 Season 2 racing episodes were edited together to make a feature-length film called M.A.S.K the Movie, which was followed by 4 more Season 2 episodes edited together to make a sequel called M.A.S.K the Movie 2. In 2011, Shout Factory released all 65 Season 1 episodes on DVD as the complete series. Season 2 wasn't part of that licensing, so you'll have to stick to the VHS editions of the movies for the full story on all the racetrack-related mischief, or, watch it here on YouTube. Kenner released the last M.A.S.K toys in 1988, and in 1991, Kenner was consumed whole by Hasbro, allowing Hasbro to add all of Kenner's essence to their own, making a stronger, hybrid Super Hasbro that would be poised to recycle every property both companies ever produced for the next 30 years and the 30 years after that. Hasbro, till all are one. In 1997, Kenner, as part of Hasbro, released a line of toys called Vortek Undercover Conversion Squad. In terms of mythology, there was no connection to M.A.S.K, but one look at the toys and the transforming vehicle gimmick suggested that some of the molds for M.A.S.K vehicles were being used in the new product with a similar scale and play pattern. For more about the oddity that was Vortek, be sure to check out our video, Vortek, the Forgotten M.A.S.K sequel / ripoff. In 2008, Hasbro snuck Matt Trakker into their 25th anniversary G.I. Joe line, getting me and everyone else at matttrakker.com really excited. I mean, you don't just throw that out there just because, right? There must have been a plan. Trakker on the Joes, Mayhem on the Cobras, Biff Bang Pow spin off the 25th anniversary M.A.S.K line in 2010. That never happened, but in 2011, M.A.S.K was included in a New York Comic Con one-shot comic called Unit E. It was intended to be a big shared universe thing involving M.A.S.K, Micronauts, Action Man, Gem, and of course, Battleship. M.A.S.K was ever so slightly altered to be more of a law enforcement group set in Detroit, but other than a tease, nothing ever resulted from it. No more toys, comics, nothing. In 2016, IDW released a Hasbro Universe crossover entitled Revolution. It featured characters from Transformers, M.A.S.K, Action Man, Micronauts, and G.I. Joe, and ROM. Some changes were made to characters' appearances, backstories, costumes, vehicles, and M.A.S.K itself was spun off into its own series for 10 issues, topping its previous ongoing series record of 9. It wouldn't be the last time the M.A.S.K operatives would deploy. They would return in 2017 as part of IDW's follow-up crossover series, First Strike, one-shot, and 6-issue limited series, which was the last time they would deploy. In 2007, Hasbro scored huge success with the Transformers live-action movie. It was followed in 2009 by not only another Transformers movie, but also a G.I. Joe movie. Hasbro brands were scoring big at the box office. The entire industry was buzzing about the potential for M.A.S.K to be the next big franchise pulled from Hasbro's library. And just 6 years later, in 2015, after a second G.I. Joe movie, 2 more Transformers movies, Gem and the Holograms, and that Battleship movie, The Hollywood Reporter noted that Hasbro and Paramount had begun working on a shared cinematic universe featuring M.A.S.K, G.I. Joe, and Micronauts, and Visionaries, and ROM. A year later, Michael Chabon, Brian K. Vaughan, Nicole Perlman, Lindsay Beer, and a bunch of other writers were all announced as being part of the team working on writing this incredible crossover storytelling and branding opportunity. And just 3 years after that, in 2018, F. Gary Gary F. Gray Gary. F. Gary Gary? The guy who directed Fate of the Furious was announced as the director for potentially the first ever live-action M.A.S.K feature film. F. Gary Gray will be producing along with Hasbro, aiming for a haul somewhere in the range of the $1.2 billion that Fate of the Furious took in. That said, no release date has been announced at this time. M.A.S.K, a former competitor, is now an ally of Transformers and G.I. Joe thanks to the magic of corporate acquisitions. It was a unique toy line in an era saturated with unique toy lines that refused to be left out of the renaissance of 80s properties. It was, and still is, a marvel of action figure and toy technology, a rare toy line that promised action, surprise, and fun, and delivered. And wrong. That works. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below what you would turn into if you could shift shapes to unlock advanced functionality. You know, sometimes I write these things in the end slate and then I'm like, how the heck do you answer that, Dan? You have to answer that. And what do you say? Well, joke's on you. I'm gonna turbo teen this and say, I turn into a car that can fly and shoot lasers when the doors are open. This isn't any harder than you make it. Cut.